Hey everybody, welcome to Investing in Cannabis. I'm Brandon David. We've talked a lot about the booming cannabis market. This segment that benefits maybe more than any other is the retail segment. We got a startup on the show tonight that's got a fresh new solution for retail. Chris, what's going on, man? Thanks for being here.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, what's MyStrain?
MyStrain is working on smart labels for the cannabis space. So the basic gist of it is cannabis products right now, they tend to be handwritten labels, they're not branded, they're very basic. And so MyStrain does two things. First, we provide a way for dispensaries to generate stylish logos that feature their brands. They're compliant, but they have interactive elements.
Got it. So that's like a WYSIWYG platform, like you can kind of design a logo, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So right now, today at over 70% of dispensaries in California, they're using compliant or somewhat generic labels, but there's no element of branding there. Many of them don't feature the dispensary logo, even though the dispensary is selling all of these products. A lot of times there's no indication of what the product is other than a handwritten title, which makes it difficult for consumers to recognize. So there's this gap and a missed opportunity, really. Dispensaries aren't getting their brand out there as much. Consumers are not easily able to access information about products.
It's a huge missed opportunity. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's like a Ziploc bag and a Sharpie.
Right.
Right, which embarrassingly enough is the truth in a lot of settings.
Yeah.
And if there is branding, like you said, it's from the farmer or it's from some other entity. Why do you think dispensaries are so bad at this to begin with?
I think that there are two big reasons. One is that the element of compliance and sensitivity around here makes dispensaries very, very reluctant to attempt creativity in this space. They know that something that they're ordering, it seems okay, other dispensaries are using it, and even though they recognize that it's a missed branding opportunity for them, I think that they're concerned about, how do I put my own label on here, where do I put it, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we give them an easy way to do that, but we also add a level of functionality to their labels by...
you said it was smart.
Yes.
It was smart. What's smart about it?
Okay, so what's smart about it is that we use our technology, so the MyStrain app is able to scan the logo of the dispensary and pull up the dispenser's menu. So they can create a deeper connection, deeper relationship with the consumers that are already buying their stuff, where their logo is already sitting on the coffee room table, and you could just scan, make an order right from there. You don't have to leave your smartphone, and it's no typing or Googling involved.
Very cool. Let's check it out.
So why don't we dive in here? The idea is...
So just standard iOS app here, right?
Yep, this one is an iOS. We've also got support for Android as well.
So we just got a camera so far, and then we're going to get a container, a little label here.
Yep, so this is one of, in addition to adding this functionality to dispensary logos, we also have a catalog of over 800 strain symbols that we make available to dispensaries. So if they want to add labels like this to their products to add a little bit of branding and polish to their presentation, they can use it. So for the example,
it was fast. I mean, it was really fast. Okay, now we've got some info here. So it duplicates the label, so we make sure we're looking at the right one, right?
Right.
And then it says 50-50 here, so does that mean it's a hybrid? That's the
right.
idea there. Berry calm, so that's a little bit of the flavor profile plus the way it makes you feel, correct?
That's right.
Where does that data come from?
So that data came from, we've been operating in stealth for about 1.5 years now, and we've been going to a lot of different sources of data, trying to do our own independent research, validating things, but it's come from a very, very extensive research process. We go to, over 15 different trusted authorities, from seed banks to public websites to grower forums, and we try to find the best information and the most validated data that we can start putting in to the information we're giving to consumers.
Got it. And so there's a little description of what this is, sort of the genealogy, blueberry and super silver haze. Obviously this information could be whatever the dispensary
Sure.
wants to include.
Absolutely, yeah, they can customize their story.
And then maybe the most exciting part here is that it says eighth $40, so there's that direct e-commerce loop that we can just buy right there, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Very cool.
So with one click, you could hold it up, hit that buy button, and it would send a delivery request over to your favorite dispensary. They'll be alerted to the fact that you're running low, or heaven forbid you're already out and you need some more immediately. So it'll place that order for you directly. There's no need to call or go online. It's as simple as picking up your empty package.
Very, very cool. Now, if only we could actually pay in the app and use credit cards, it would be super
right,
simple.
yeah.
But that's a story for another episode.
Yep.
Very cool. So this is kind of the basic technology. It seems like it works really, really well. Dream with me here. I mean, what else could we include with this, with scannable labels?
Well, so we call these different screens a digital action. So the action that we have here is we can look at the product, we can decide if we want to buy any more of it, but we're building out different cards that you can swipe to. So each card, this one would allow you to buy, but from here, if you decide that you want to review it as well, you could just hold it up, swipe over, and put in your review. So it makes that review process and feedback cycle a lot more accessible. You could do loyalty programs. We're working to gamify different scans so that we encourage people to explore different products. We'll remember what they've scanned and what they've reviewed or enjoyed, and we'll reward them with digital icons and other virtual goods.
Very cool. We were also just talking briefly about some maybe like influencer marketing here too, right? You could have someone famous that really likes this strain pitching it, or even your friends. How many of your friends have scanned this image before? There's so many endless options here. So you kind of have two different sides of this, right? There's the technology that you're going to license to dispensaries, right? And then there's sort of the data portion and the platform that you're building. Can you talk a little bit more like behind the scenes, what you're collecting and all that good stuff?
Oh, sure. Well, what we're trying to do is give everybody in the ecosystem more meaningful data. So for consumers, if you've scanned or purchased Blue Dream a lot, it may be that you want to swipe over and see some things that are very similar or that we might recommend. So based on what we know of your order history, based on the things that you scan and are typically interested in, we can make some intelligent recommendations about what other things you might enjoy. And this is valuable data for dispensaries as well, because we can also help communicate to them through the form of anonymous user data what people tend to scan and then buy versus just scan, pass over, find something else that they then buy. And so we can help them respond to what their customers are actually doing, what they're enjoying, what they're buying, and then they can stock their inventory more appropriately.
Got it. Yeah, inventory as well as just more happy customers, right? They have a better idea of what they're getting ahead of time. I don't know if their returns are a thing in cannabis industry anyway, but maybe you just get some complaints. That's what I hear anyway.
Yeah.
So there's also this really interesting angle that you were telling me about the way that the accounting works in dispensaries and how MyStrain kind of fits into that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. We've been forming relationships with point of sale providers. They're POS for shorts. And
it's not piece of shit.
No. I mean, I suppose, it depends on customer satisfaction, right? But yeah, we've been able to partner with them, and a really intriguing exchange that we're able to have is that we benefit and dispensaries benefit when they're able to easily push their menus onto the platform. So we make it free for dispensaries to post their menu because that's not really our value proposition. Right. We like the smart labels. Yep. So on the MyStrain website, they can push their whole menu for free if the POS is partnered with us. And that makes it very easy for us to send that same product data back to them.
Okay.
And because we've already got that close integration with their technology, when we send those order requests to them, they feed it through their normal channels. It gets invoiced as a normal order. It goes to a dispatcher who knows to send out a delivery driver. So that closer relationship allows us to kind of expand the scope of their services, because now suddenly their clients are able to receive online orders and deliveries. And we're able to help out by facilitating that, mainly through these scannable labels.
Yeah, no, very, very interesting. And then there's an additional portion about 280E and sort of the cost of goods sold there, right? And then that's an interesting angle that you told me about a little bit
absolutely,
too.
Yeah, it's a bit of a technical point, but the cannabis space is very unique. We see application for this technology beyond cannabis products, and it's kind of important to note that this pattern recognition system that we're using, it doesn't only work for MyStrain labels or participating dispensaries. We're able to recognize existing products that are out there. So, an example, although we're not talking with them, Chiba Chews right now, we would be able to train the system to see them and spark these same kinds of digital actions. So it's not only in cannabis, we could do it with Fruit Loops, but right now the cannabis space is so special because of packaging. For them, they can't write anything off other than the cost of goods sold. And typically those only come down to the packaging itself, the plastic bottle or the Mylar bag that you're putting it in, and then the label itself, as well as the goods inside. So it's a very, very limited universe of things that they can write off. But by giving them label enhancements, this is kind of bringing in some benefits of a technology platform, marketing, online ordering, but we're anchoring it to the label. So one thing that dispensaries can consider doing is seeing if this qualifies for a 280E write-off as a cost of goods sold. It's a digital layer that's added to the label, but in the same way that you might be able to add a 17-page flip book to your label, it's going to cost quite a bit more than just the normal sticker.
Right.
But that extra flip book, the features that it adds, because it factors into the cost of goods sold, those features become something that you can write off. And the way that we see it is that these digital layers that get added to the labels, it's a way of building in all of these services that normally would be outside of the reach of 280E. Being able to access those through this solution.
It's a great sales kicker.
It can be, yeah.
Right? I mean, just at the end, just to be like, oh, by the way, you can write this part off. That's got to be mind-blowing for some people.
Yeah, it's a really, really new concept. I see a lot of surprise when we try to propose the concept, talk to dispensaries about it, because once they realize that this is an enhancement to their existing labels, it's a proposition they've never considered before. So it takes them off guard a lot of times. They do want to learn more and see some of the features, but it is a good invitation to further conversation.
Yeah, no, it's very, very cool. I mean, you mentioned that your goal is to be much bigger than cannabis at some point, right? I mean, it's a sizable retail segment, but in addition to that, there's any number of things that the technology could be applied to. You're in the Canopy class right now. When you interviewed for Canopy, how much is that part of the equation? Like, this is going to be bigger than cannabis at some point.
Well, we came to Canopy for a reason, chose the cannabis space for a reason. The 280E consideration is a very special one. But, the other considerations are that cannabis is in need of a bit of a PR improvement. And helping to improve labels, it makes sense to start there. As an overall value proposition. But Canopy has been a terrific and tremendous opportunity in terms of helping us to accelerate and focus this technology, really challenging us to find the best application for it, the leanest, most efficient way for us to execute. So it's been a fantastic experience, and I think cannabis is still the best place to launch something like this.
Yeah, very cool. So you're almost done with Canopy, which has got to be a little bittersweet. I'm sure it's been fun to be in the program for a little while, but you're pitching at the ArcView event next week in Las Vegas. Good luck with that. That's very cool. Are you ready to go? Are you ready for the pitch?
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a demo day in Vegas, and then there's a road show following that, so it's not going to be the end of the road with that. Again, pitching and presentation is one of the things that Canopy has done a wonderful job in concentrating our attention on, is something that's fundamentally important for a startup. That's your first opportunity for a conversation with investors. So they've worked with us a lot. I feel much better now than I did 10 weeks ago.
Did you have prior pitching experience at all?
I can't say that I've pitched a lot of companies. I did have one startup before this, but I'd say that I've probably pitched more to juries. I'd been a district attorney for
I want to touch on that briefly because it's fascinating. Tell the story just of how you got into cannabis, how you got excited about it.
Yeah, it's I don't follow maybe the standard model for the space. I was a district attorney in Stanislaus County in the Central Valley. I had a pretty naive experience base with cannabis before that, and then suddenly I was in a place where cannabis dispensaries were being prosecuted. You'd look at the files. I would take a look at them as a former equity analyst, so I had the opportunity to kind of look through their financials and think about whether they were making a profit or not. And in many cases, the numbers were extraordinary. I mean, it's clearly a business that's doing very well. And at the time, the community that I was living in, like many communities in California, they were struggling economically. So there was a little bit of a conversation there that I would try to have with some people about, what's the best way to treat an industry like this, where obviously there are some legal concerns, but tremendous business opportunity. And a lot of the kickback that I was able to see in law enforcement is that dispensaries just are not presenting themselves as legitimate businesses. And when you come in with the eyes of law enforcement on these businesses, even if they're operating in total compliance, the fact that they have their products sitting in glass jars with duct tape, and handwritten labels, it becomes very difficult from a PR standpoint to get over the stigma that's created by packaging.
Yep.
And so that conflict for me in terms of, all right, well, how do we try to make this business more presentable to communities that are understandably hostile and concerned with this really, what they perceive to be a really low quality, or at least minimally controlled industry. So the combination of me not knowing what all these different strains were and why they needed to have all these different labels, combined with my own sympathy for law enforcement who were challenging me to
yeah, let me get this straight, just so it's clear. So you're working for the DA, helping to prosecute dispensaries that are making money, or entities that are not supposed to be making money, and you take a look at the financials and say, shit, this is actually a really good opportunity, I got to get involved. That's basically how it went down, right?
Well, yeah, I can't say that, I had the opportunity to see the numbers, and I did want to get involved. Trying to find that best solution, I did think about it for a little while, and it didn't come until a little bit later, but eventually, what clicked for me was just that there is a need here. It's a high growth business, a high growth industry, and I didn't see anybody else doing it. Yep. Even people who were using the sort of generic labels that were available, even when you see that in a file with a dispensary, that's under investigation or something like that, you need something better. And I didn't see anything better. As a naive consumer, I didn't understand all of these hundreds of different strains, Granddaddy Purple, Blue Dream, those were all things that
it's very confusing. If you don't have a long history in the cannabis industry, they're crazy names and they have little or nothing to do with what they actually do to you, how they actually affect you, right?
Yeah, and the fact that, you can go into a soda aisle and you can scan really quickly for, Coca-Cola, where's red and white? If I want, Pepsi, then you look for that familiar blue and red and white. But for cannabis, it was never like that. As a confused consumer, every single time I tried to put myself into the position of someone coming into a dispensary for the first time, and I saw the difficulty that the industry has with that. Even if I knew what I was looking for, I wouldn't be able to find it with that labeling. So labels became a natural place for me, just given that
your own need.
Yeah, I needed to do
your
it.
Own need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also
just
understood
some of the best
that
companies. That's what they do. Yeah, cool. So you got your pitch in Vegas next week, then the road show, then Canopy will be effectively over for you. What's after that? What's next?
Well, the next steps are that we're excited to be expanding. We're looking at some follow-up funding already, and moving forward with some of the extra features that I've already shared. But we're really excited to build those out, complete some of the partnership integrations, and once that's done, we would like to start working with brand makers directly and start expanding features for them as well. So it's not just dispensaries and
Who's
POSs.
like your ideal target? Who do you really want to work with?
Oh gosh, well, I don't want to tip my hand. That might be a trade secret, just so that they don't know for negotiations.
All right, I won't
how
put you on the
badly
spot
I'd like
there.
to, try to get something to work.
Well, Chris, has been fascinating stuff. Thanks so much for sharing it with us. I wish you the best of luck. It really is rad, guys. I just did it. It's pretty cool to scan something and learn all about cannabis. Nothing like this exists in the cannabis industry. So good luck in Vegas next week. And thanks so much. It was really fun, man.
I appreciate it. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Hey there. Thanks for watching. Every week we bring you the best stories in the new cannabis industry, the founders, the investors. We help you start a company. We help you invest in companies. If you want to learn more every week, you can subscribe, like right here. We also check out these two other great videos here and here.